sugar.
Yes.
We should introduce him to the LED sign, Andrew.
So we are broadcasting. Okay.
I'm currently going to school for music. Oh, I don't think very good.
Hello.
This is quite a trip.
I'm trying to eat early, so I was just trying to leave early.
Really? They're coming in.
His name's Jeff. I got a sister.
We're dragging in.
Yeah. I haven't met you yet. Then I'll look at your mom.
Okay. We took it back quickly. We took it down.
Sorry. Thank you.
Glenn, could you give out some prayer books to people? Thank you. Yeah.
Just want to make sure.
We're doing it. Okay. Friend, Shabbat Shalom. It's nice to see everyone here. It's nice to see everyone there. We're trying to get the camera business organized. Nathan has been worrying about this the entire week.
Sleepless nights.
Sleepless nights. How do we get the camera in the right direction so it picks up our sound? How does, so we're working on it. But we're glad to see everyone here, no matter how they're connecting with our service. Can't believe Hanukkah's already over.
It's over.
And I especially appreciate people who came down this evening, because those of you who are in virtual land, you have no idea what's going down, what's happening here down at the plaza. You can't move.
It's crazy.
Did people have trouble getting around, or is it just me?
No, I didn't.
It was crazy. I thought I was going to miss services. Now I've gotten that off my chest. I feel really good. So we welcome everyone to our worship this evening, and we are going to begin our service with Lechad Dodi on page 2 of your Siddur. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel Shabbat lehadlik ner shel Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. I showed Becky and Nathan before. My grandson Amitai is in preschool in Israel. And in his class, every Friday there is an Abba Shel Shabbat, there's a father of Shabbat, and there's an Ima Shel Shabbat. So it was his week to be this. And this was like the biggest thing in his whole world. So he had, I'll show you the video. It'll be on our website soon. It'll be, okay, so he's wearing this crown, and so he's walking around like he's presenting the challah, it's cute. And then he takes the cup like this, and he does the blessing for the wine in his very authentic Israeli accent, and he does this, and he's really excited. So I talked to him this morning. It was getting close to Shabbat there in Israel. So he started telling me, well, when I come to the United States, I need a little table, and I need a chair, and I need candlesticks, and the candles have to be white. He starts giving me this whole thing about, and he's 3 years old. And my point being is that if you want to, if you want to impart things, you really have to impart them when you're young. Obviously, people come to Judaism later in life and they convert and whatever, or they rediscover their Judaism in whatever age it is, and that's wonderful. But when you see it with him, and it's so organic to him, it moved me to tears. I mean, it's just like, oh my God, with that deep Israeli accent, I'm thinking, there's hope for the Jewish people. No, I mean that really sincerely. And so I had to share it with you, so as I light the candles, I feel connected to Amitai and his spiritual journey that he has begun. And it's really good that he's able to do it, because his older sister, I'm surprised she let him do it. So let's continue in our service as we turn to page 36 and we rise for the call to worship, the Baruch Hu.
Lai, 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 lai. Lai, 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 lai.
Seated, and we are going to continue on page 37. Ever-living God, your majesty is proclaimed by the marvels of earth and sky. Sun, moon, and stars testify of your power and wisdom. Day follows day in endless succession, and the years vanish, but your sovereignty endures. Though all things pass, your glory will never depart from us, helping us to be your partners, that we may endow our fleeting days with abiding worth. Together in the middle of page 37, all goodness and truth come from you, O God. May no transgressions estrange us from you, nor self-centeredness darken our vision of your purposes. Help us to recognize that what is just and more fully understand your will. In adversity and in prosperity, may the light of Torah illuminate our path. May we labor in the service so that your deeds become a living hymn of praise to you. Together on page 38, infinite as is your power, even so is your love. It may be seen through the history of our people Israel, through laws and ethical precepts, through statutes and ordinances. You have led us in the ways of righteousness and brought us to the light of truth. Therefore, on our lying down and our rising up, we will meditate on the Torah's teachings, finding within it the inspiration and guidance for our daily lives. May your love never depart from our hearts. We praise you, God. You have revealed your love through our people Israel. We continue with Ahavat Olam.
Ahavat olam, Beit Yisrael, Amecha ahavta, Amcha ahavta.
We turn to page 39 and let us rise for the Shema.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kivon, Malchuto, Leolam, Leolam Vaed.
You may be seated. On page 42, let us read responsively. In truth, the Eternal One alone is our Redeemer. God is refuge of the oppressed and deliverer of the persecuted. Let us praise Eternal God who gives rest to the weary and hope to the despondent. Let us ever acknowledge God as our Creator and hold fast to the Torah. Blessed is Shabbat, the Queen of Days, which offers to our people enrichment of the soul. Even more than Israel has kept the Sabbath, so the captive has kept the people Israel. So what I said, as the captive has the Sabbath kept the Jewish people. That is a very poor... I totally have messed up Jewish theology the last 2,000 years. And you've witnessed it. No, it's a mistake.
Great first time.
Okay, it's not easy. How blessed are those who observe Shabbat, who sanctify it with prayer, with study, and with friendship. Let us rejoice in our eternal God and delight in the heritage of our people. May our homes be filled with light and gladness. May our hearts be steadfast, trusting in the Eternal One. The love of God is our strength. We continue with Mi Chamocha.
Anu
page 44. As the Sabbath descends, it enfolds us in its mantle of peace. It brings to us the precious gift of time to embrace family and friends, to reflect more deeply on the meaning and purpose of our lives, and to worship in the beauty of holiness. May every Shabbat be for us a sanctuary of love and devotion, bringing contentment to our hearts, happiness to our homes, and blessings to our people. Together, those who celebrate Shabbat and call it delight, rejoice in your creation. All who hallow the seventh day shall be gladdened by your goodness. This day is Israel's festival of the Spirit, sanctified and blessed by you, the most precious of days, a symbol of the joy of creation. Let us rise, page 45, for the Amidah. Let us be seated and let us read responsibly on page 46. God of ages past and future, God of this day, as you were with our mothers and fathers, be with us as well. As you strengthen them, strengthen us. As you were their guide, be ours as well. Grant that we too may be bearers of your teaching, teachers of your truth. Then our tradition shall endure, our people Israel will live, from mother and father to daughter and son, and all who follow them. One generation comes, one generation passes. Each of us is a link in the endless chain of our heritage. Students of the Torah become teachers. Our faith and our ideals endure. Our people and our values live on. Page 48. God calls our people Israel to be of service. May we fulfill this charge by exemplifying the Torah's ideals with all those we encounter in our daily lives. Together, may we have the grace to fulfill our mission with enthusiasm and with joy, always tempered by wisdom and guided by respect for other people's faiths and ideals. May our actions attest to the strength of our convictions. May our conduct towards our neighbors, our faithfulness in every sphere of duty, our compassion for those in need, and our patience under trial show that the one whose law we obey is indeed the God of all goodness, the loving creator of all people. This teaches us that to serve God is perfect freedom, and to worship God the soul's purest delight. May our eyes and minds always be open so that we may see and welcome all truth, whether shining from the wisdom of ancient revelations or reaching us through the prophets of our own time. For God continues to shed light on every generation that seeks the guidance of the Eternal One. The people of Israel shall preserve the Sabbath, observing the Sabbath in every generation as a perpetual covenant. It is a sign between God and the people of Israel forever. We continue with the Shamru. Page 49. Grant, O God, that we may lie down in peace and that we may rise up again to life. Spread over us the shelter of your peace. Guide us with wise counsel. Be as a shield about us, fortifying us against hatred and war, against pestilence and sorrow. Curb within us the inclination to do evil and enfold us with the embrace of your love. Guide our going out and coming in to life and peace from this time forth and forever. We praise you, God, for you shelter us and all who dwell on earth. Page 51, let us read together at the top of the page. We gratefully acknowledge that the eternal God is our creator and preserver, the rock of our life and the shield of our help. We thank God and sing praises for the gift of life itself, for our souls that are ever in God's keeping, for the signs of our Creator's presence that we encounter every day, and for God's wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. Truly our blessings are without end, and God's loving kindness never ceases. Therefore do we forever put our trust in the Eternal One. Let us continue on page 52 with Shalom Rav.
Israel.
Let us continue in some moments of private reflection and meditation. Friends, let's turn back in our Cedar Ream and our prayer books to page 10. As is our tradition, we have words of healing at this time in our service. Let me begin at the top of the page. Prayer invites God's presence to lift our spirits. It allows the blessing and gift of hope to prevail in our lives. Prayer may not bring water to parched fields, nor mend a broken bridge, nor rebuild a ruined city. But prayer can water an arid soul, mend a broken heart, and rebuild a weakened will. Together we pray for all people who are at this hour, are in sickness and want, or in distress of body or spirit. We name in our hearts those who are near to us and whose pain we feel pain. Let them know your help and feel your presence, realizing that they are not alone. Is there any name of someone that you're thinking of this evening and praying for that you'd like to share with our group this evening? Anyone? So let's continue with Mishabera.
Mishabera avotenu me'or habracha le'imotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mishabera bimotenu me'or habracha avotenu. Those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen.
Friend, Shabbat Shalom to everyone. It's nice seeing everyone here. Thank you for the opportunity to speaking with you this evening. Joseph, the son of Jacob, is one of the most complicated, intelligent, and tormented personalities in the Torah. All those adjectives go together. The Torah spends more time speaking about Joseph than any character in the Torah. He has a rocky life. He endures much personal pain. Some of it is self-afflicted, and some of it is beyond his control. He is a victim of certain forces. His family was toxic. It was a family of favoritism, of distrust, and of lies. His father favored him. Joseph acted to his other brothers as if he was better than they were. They came to hate him, and they conspired to kill him, throwing him into a pit. He's sold to traders who bring him to Egypt. His brothers pretend that he is dead, but they really don't know what his fate was. Now, how does one survive being hated so intensely that your family wants you dead? What's it like to being all alone in this world? To be exiled into a land completely foreign to you. But Joseph is a survivor. He becomes a trusted servant of Potiphar. He achieves trust, becomes the head of Potiphar's household. Yet he is entrapped by Potiphar's wife, who tries to seduce him. And when he rightfully refuses, she accuses him of sexual impropriety. He is a victim of her lies, and he ends up in jail, abandoned, forgotten, forsaken. His situation seems hopeless, and his life seems to have ended. It doesn't end there. I think I'm making a pretty good case that his life is pretty difficult. I don't know if I could make it in the Supreme Court, because it's hard to convince them of anything now, but that's a whole other topic. But he takes on leadership in jail. He becomes an interpreter of dreams, and ultimately is brought to Pharaoh to interpret Pharaoh's dreams. And in the end, by a turn of fate, he becomes, I always say this, he's the Henry Kissinger of Egypt. He has great power, which he uses wisely. And then something happens that disrupts his life. His brothers come to Egypt, and he must determine, are they changed people or as evil as before? And then there is this moment of choice. Should he be embittered and vengeful about them and his life? Should he be controlled by his past, unable to navigate into a better future? Or can he forgive, move forward, having strength, becoming stronger by his misfortunes? Joseph is able to do that, and in the end, because of his growth, reconciliation occurs. He is the great example of our capacity to overcome our past wounds, to transcend the unfairness of our lives, and to see life as something far in the distant instead of something far in the past. Now this portion, and it always seems, the Torah reading always seems to fit reality. It's amazing. This portion is quite poignant as we mourn the death of Senator Bob Dole. Senator Dole was very Joseph-esque, if there is such a word. He confronted so much suffering, but he triumphed in the end. And I read every obituary of his, one after another. The New York Times, our local paper that had a wonderful obituary, the Wall Street Journal, the Washington Post. And so you kind of glean together things that you know about him and things that you forgot about him and things that you should know about him. So he had this will of steel. His story is one of the most remarkable examples of the triumph of the human will. He comes from this poor town in Kansas. He dreamed of becoming a doctor. He borrowed $300 to go to college. Then something happened called World War II, and he volunteered for the military. We are told, and this is his famous story, but I think it's so worth telling it over and over and over again. He was a sophomore when he enlisted in the army and was shipped off to Italy in late 1944. On April 14th, 1945, less than 1 month before the end of World War II, less than 1 month, his squad was trying to retake Hill 913 in central Italy. And when he crawled to rescue a wounded soldier, Nazi fire ripped into his right shoulder, shredding bone and leaving him partially paralyzed in the mud. He went home in a body cast. He began 3 years ordeal to reclaim his health. He lost 70 pounds and nearly died twice. His right arm remained paralyzed and mostly useless for the rest of his life. He spent more than 2 years at Percy Jones Army Medical Center in Battle Creek, Michigan, where he regained the use of his legs and his left arm. Dole had to relearn to eat, to use the toilet, to write with his left hand. That was often none. For years after, as we know, and this is something he held a pen in his right hand so people wouldn't want to shake hands with him that way, and it helped him, I think, with his pain. His medical bills were paid for by people in his hometown who threw in coins and for the local drugstore. It was in a cigar box, and he had the cigar box his whole life. He had 7 operations. His surgeon transplanted tendons from Dole's leg to his right shoulder. A chunk of his scapula was removed, and muscles in Dole's neck was reconnected to his right arm. I don't know how one lives through all that. And Senator Dole said something in relationship to that. He said, when you join that group, you say, why me? But after you've been there a while, you have to decide what you're going to do with your life. Without the use of his right hand, law school at Washburn University was challenging, and he taped class lectures because he couldn't take notes quickly with his left hand, and at night he'd listen and jot shorthand notes, learning to commit vast amounts of material to memory. And then we know his rise in politics up to the majority leader of the Senate. He ran for president. And interestingly enough, we know him as being such a conservative person. I'm sure many people are wondering why laud this very politically conservative person, because his politics are really irrelevant to what I'm talking about. He opposed Medicare, but he supported civil rights and the Voting Rights Act. And of course, his experience led to his dedication to the passing of the 1990 Americans with Disabilities Act, which guarantees rights and improves the day-to-day lives of individuals with disabilities. But in 1996, he, as you know, he resigned from the Senate as he's running for the presidency, and because he said, okay, I got to do this full time. People aren't going to take me seriously. And he made this remarkable speech that I want to share with you that I think is really the essence of my message. He said, my time to leave this office has come, and I will seek the presidency with nothing to fall back on but the judgment of the people, and nowhere to go but the White House or home. And I will then stand before you without office or authority, a private citizen, a Kansan, an American, just a man. But I will be the same man I was when I walked into the room, and the same man I was yesterday, and the day before, and a long time ago, when I arose from my hospital bed and was permitted by the grace of God to walk again into the world. And I trust in the hard way, for little has come to me except the hard way, which is good because we have a hard task ahead of us. I mean, that's really a mood. It's so interesting. You have an image of a man politically, then you read about the background of him, and your image of him totally changes. He's really a remarkable person. That studying him all week, it just moved me. So we often speak of PTSD, of post-traumatic stress disorder, which has this lasting impact on people, the trauma of their lives. But there is something that psychologists have also spoken about, which is post-traumatic growth. The notion that suffering and distress can potentially yield positive change. And we find that in Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and other faiths that speaks about the transformative power of suffering. Not something you ever want, but it's something that we can grow from. During and after the most trying times, some of us see growth in ourselves in a whole range of areas of our lives. Sometimes it's an upheaval that unleashes this hidden strength and courage, the opportunity for a new beginning. You know, Winston Churchill once said, if you're going through hell, keep going. That is Senator Dole. He kept going. What a model of a human life. Scars, pain, suffering, trauma, disability, and his life could have been over. But he had this capacity to transcend his hurts, his agonies. He rejected being a victim, and he discovered this incredible strength of courage. You know, Senator Tom Daschle wrote in the Wall Street Journal, few know the Bob Dole who called up a Florida dentist in 1993 to encourage him after losing his right arm and helping him find a specialist for a prosthetic arm. Or the Bob Dole who took a detour from 1996 presidential campaign to attend the graduation party of a young girl in Indianapolis who had been partially paralyzed by a car accident. He was a great teacher about opening our hearts and responding to suffering. Now, I don't know anything about his religion. It doesn't really that interest me. But his life was a faith text. A faith in God is not a promise of a perfect life. I always talk about that. A faith in God is not about a painless life. God doesn't have that power. But God is the source of hope, the reassurance that we can triumph, that we have untapped resources, and that we are blessed with people who will hold our hands, and that we are committed to creating a world of kindness and support for those who are in need. That, to me, is what belief in God is. So my prayer tonight is for him to rest in peace. He has earned that. For his family to be comforted, in our country to honor him, for each of us to learn from him how to confront our difficulties, our individual hells with strength and dignity. Senator Dole, you have taught us what it means to be strong and courageous. Thank you for that lesson. We all certainly need it. Amen. So let us continue in our service at this moment. We are going to turn to page 368, and we're going to rise for the adoration.
Let us adore thee, we offer praise unto you. Spread out the heavens and establish the earth. Your glory is revealed in the heavens above. Your greatness is manifest throughout the world. You are God, there is none else. אנחנו קוראים
Kadosh Baruch. You may be seated. Let us join on page 369 May the time not be distant, O God, when you shall be worshipped throughout the earth, when unbelief shall disappear and error be no more. Fervently we pray that the day may come when all people shall be guided by your teachings. Corruption and evil shall give way to purity and goodness. Superstition shall no longer enslave the mind, nor idolatry blind the eye. Then all who dwell on earth shall know that to you alone every knee shall bend and every voice give praise. May all created in your image recognize that we are brothers and sisters, so that one in spirit and one in harmony be forever united before you. Then shall your reign be established on earth, and the word of your ancient prophet be fulfilled. The eternal God will reign forever and ever. On that day the eternal shall be one, and God's name shall be one. At this time, recall the yurtzites that are part of the permanent memory of our community. David Hearn Chasnow, Marwin Cohn, Joseph Flore, Rose Flore, Louis Galamba Sr., Sarah Green, Charles Hipsch, Joe Hirsch, Richard Hoffman, Grindel Leppin, Leslie Lyon, Lyra Ann Monacy, Arthur Stern, and David Wolf. Also, we are in the period of the Shaloshim, 30 days after the death of a loved one, and we are mindful of the passing the last 30 days of Kenny Baum and Barbara Brown. In solemn testimony to that unbroken faith that links the generations of the house of Israel one to another, we ask everyone to turn to page 375 and rise for the mourner's Kaddish. And let us read it slowly together. Yit Kadal v'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah B'yomad Divrach Yirutei V'yomlich Mahutei B'chayechon Uvyamechon Uvchayedecho Beit Yisrael V'galav Izman Kari V'yamru Amen Yehei Shmei Rabbah Mevarach Le'olam Omei Omaya Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yit Ba'ar V'yitramam V'yit Naseh V'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shmei dekudisha b'richu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, damiran v'yoma v'yamru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. May the one who causes peace to reign in the high heavens let peace reign on us, on the people of Israel, and on all humankind. And let us say, Amen. Amen. You may be seated. The Shabbat flowers, and they're beautiful this evening, but they have different things, Dee Dee. So you're going to have to give us a lesson on what's in there. You're not going to, but they're pretty.
Sunflower birds of paradise, the
Oh.
usual.
The usual. That should be my goal. That when the Shabbat flowers, that I'll know each flower. That's a goal for me, and I'll never achieve it. I don't think I'm going to do it. Shabbat flowers are dedicated this evening in memory of David Hearn Chasnow by Patty Chasnow, in memory of Joseph Flore and Rose Flore by Roger Hurwitz, in memory of Richard Hoffman by Alan and Gail Gutowitz, and in memory of Leslie Lyon by the Barnett families. We'll have services here next Shabbat at 6 p.m., and then we're going to be virtual again. We're having Torah study tomorrow, and just want to make mention of the fact that we continue to be very active in our social justice committee, and digitutoring, people volunteering online to tutor young people, is still going on, and it's not too late to join in that wonderful undertaking. Okay. Anything else people want to share this evening? Very serene out there. People who are virtual are screaming to say things. And I can hear it. I just can't make it out. Okay, well, we're concluding our service tonight with Lichilach. Page... No, we're not.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, page 437.
I'll give you the page number.
437.
You already had it. I don't need
So you didn't think I had the number?
it. I did not.
Okay. Okay, got it.
Just be
No,
honest.
no faith in Rabbi Londy. Okay, got it. To a land that I will show you. To a place you do not know.
On your journey I will bless you. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. And I shall make your name great. Lech lecha, and all shall praise your name. Lechilach, to the place that I will show you. L'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, l'simchat chayim, lechilach. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. You shall be a blessing. Lechilach. Shabbat shalom to everyone. If you're participating in the service online and you want to know more about the New Reform Temple, call the synagogue and we'd be happy to talk to you. And we're just delighted how everyone participates that you're part of our worship this evening. Shabbat shalom.
Come back next
Shabbat shalom to everyone. Thanks everyone coming this evening. Thanks for coming.
Let me unlock the door for you guys. I was struggling with it because I didn't realize there were two locks.